Hey, this is Rocket Brain Surgeon, and today we're looking at the BF-110C. This is a Tier 4 German premium heavy fighter, just released today on 0.5.3. On paper, the plane is meant to be slightly less maneuverable, with slightly less climb and slightly less speed than its brethren in Tier 4, the BF-110B. This is on par with what they've done with Tier 5. The BF-110E is slightly better in climb and maneuverability than the ME-210, the premium heavy fighter. The difference here between the 110C and the 110B is that the 110C gets upgunned. So instead of two low-velocity 20mm cannons, it's one high-velocity 30mm cannons. It is ridiculous. This is a Tier 4 battle, and you can see the difference between the 110B and the 110C. My escape velocity really isn't what I would hope it would be on this plane. That's okay though, because the offense more than makes up for it. One of the large differences between the high caliber weapons like a 30mm versus the 20mm is that the 30mm cannon heats up rather quickly. So while on the 110B you could spray and pray for a long time, on the 110C you have to be a little bit more judicious with your shooting. When in a low tier game, say Tier 4 or Tier 5, when the 30mm is on cooldown, your low caliber machine guns will be enough to get the job done at close range. In Tier 6 battles, you're going to feel a little bit undergunned when the 30 is on cooldown. Despite the plane having less maneuverability in terms of roll rate and time to turn than the BF-110B, it's still very acceptable. What's going to happen next is kind of user error of the plane and possibly an interface issue. Notice that the reticle is lighting up, signifying that it's a good shot. However, my 30mm cannon is on cooldown, meaning my low-tier machine guns can't shoot that far, so he's about 600 meters away from me. The game is telling me that yes, your shot is open, when in actuality I have absolutely no chance to hit him outside of 400 meters. The reason why I'm talking about gun heat so much is that is the quote-unquote downside of the plane. The 30mm is an incredible asset. As you can see here, I'm just working that guy. And when you have 30mm heat to play with, it does really well. But now with the 30mm on cooldown, I again fall into the trap of seeing the lead indicator light up, indicating that's a good shot. However, my machine guns won't travel over 400 meters. However, you notice when I closed the distance to within 400 meters, the low-tier machine guns were more than enough to do the job very quickly. My first impressions of this plane are very strong. Since it's still beta and we don't have a release economy, I can't comment on the earnings of the plane, but I do know that a plane that has very good combat effectiveness is probably going to be a good moneymaker. One of the things I recommend doing with this plane that I'm going to start doing is I'm going to put the guns on separate hotkeys, because the range of the 30mm is much different from the range of the low-tier machine guns. The cannon has a range of 800 meters, and the machine guns have a range of about 400 meters. You don't want to run up the gun heat on the big gun when you don't need it, because the low-tier machine guns are going to be enough. Here, since I'm a noob at heart, I'm going to finish it in noob fashion with a ram. This is my first real game in it after I figured out the controls of 0.5.3, racking up 8 kills, 2,700 XP, 80,000 credits, and something called the Marseille medal. Not quite sure what that is, but I think it's good. Hope you enjoyed. Happy hunting.